Welcome to the Claws Out podcast, live from the mic'd up studio here in Parramatta. After an awful day for the West Tigers, just up the road, thumped 68 points to 0 by the Penrith Panthers. I'm joined by Rob and Steve, but my like a Tiger moment is having Gary Watson back in studio, mate. On a serious note, we've missed you the past couple of weeks. We were a little bit worried, but give us a health update.
Yeah, I had high fluid pressure in my skull, so I've been quite crook with that. Still a little bit off. I think I'm only operating at about 80% tonight, but I think that's good for Rob and Steve. They may be able to keep up for once.
Okay. Well, I was going to say the niceties are over now, Gary. Yeah. I mean, you criticised me for missing the whole preseason. You've missed the last 6 weeks now, and you want to come back and everything's fine, apparently.
Yeah, well, I think you missed me. I've watched a couple of the pods, and I was needed.
Fair enough. Bit of impact from Gary tonight. Rob, I know it was a tough day, but on another good note, Royce Simmons Cup, a legend of both clubs, obviously as a player for Panthers, but as an assistant coach for the West Tigers.
Yeah, he was our assistant coach in 2005, and I know Robbie Farah attributes a lot of his development to Royce Simmons, and obviously he was a legend for Penrith, ending his career with a 1991 grand final where he scored a try or two in that game. Great day for him. Unfortunately, a better day for Penrith. And a pity that our players didn't come out a bit more fired up like Gary Watson has tonight on the podcast.
And our good mate Adel Hage, he's enjoying a well-earned break. His team had a bye this week and he's down on the Sunshine or up on the Sunshine Coast, so we thought it'd be unfair to ask him to analyse all 27 of the Penrith tries tonight. So just the one show tonight. He'll be back next week.
Definitely one show. I think we realised halfway through that game that we're not going to do a blow-by-blow description. I know the fans look forward to it, but I mean all you're going to be doing is putting shit on the players and saying you did this wrong and did that wrong, and it's just unfair.
And we'll do enough of that tonight anyway.
Well, you certainly will, that's for sure. You already started on us three, geez.
To be fair, he wanted to come on Claws, but he knew we had 4 in the studio, and he's driving back from the Sunshine Coast now, so big hello to Adele out there. Steve, you had the displeasure of being out there today, but you had an ambush function before the game. How'd that go?
Yeah, we had the ambush event. It was great. We had a lot of people in the room again. It's becoming a bit of a thing now. You walk through the gate and come straight to the bar for the ambush, and we had Patrick Herbert there. He was there to say good day to everyone, sign some autographs, take some photos, and then we had interviews. Kelly from Hear Her Roar did an interview with Kezi Apps and Portia Burke, and that was really good, well attended. We had the Yachties quiz and gave away Jimmy Jack book again, so it was good. And then we went to our seats.
Roughly 20,000 out there today.
Yeah, 21.
What was the split? Obviously, Penrith doing all the cheering. Was it 50-50 or probably more Tigers fans?
I think there was probably more Tigers fans, but the Penrith fans were very much behind that goalpost down the southern end of the ground, and they made a lot of noise for that game, and there wasn't much noise from Tigers fans.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty of what went wrong, you're like a Tiger moment?
I don't have one. Sorry, guys. There's nothing to say about that. I'd jokingly say the full-time hooter or something, but, as a fan, I'm just used to these sort of losses over the last 4 or 5 years. We've had, a few of them. We've had a heavier one against the Cowboys. You'll probably go through a few of the scores. I thought Dream Buller played really well, but that's not like a Tiger moment. It's just a day to forget.
Benji's press conference. He owned it. I can't go through the game and find a moment that I was proud of, or that anyone should be proud of. But Benji owned the loss. I like the way he takes responsibility. I think today was possibly an opportunity that he could have pinned a couple of players against the wall, but he didn't do that. He said, we've got to have a look at ourselves. We're all in this together. So good on him for owning it.
Yeah, for me, it's any fan that was still there at full time. That's a huge effort from our fans. As you said, there was 21,000 there, and there was still a lot of West Tigers fans
leaving at half time, or you don't really take notice of that?
A number of people, of course, left, but anyone who sat to the end of that game, like 68-0, there was absolutely nothing for West Tigers fans in that game.
Let's go to his press conference. He was hurting, as you would be after a 68-0 loss. He said, he basically said, I apologise to the fans and members. Clear from the start we were not there. What did you make of it?
Well, one term he did use was embarrassing, which obviously it was. I'll just say it now. I said we've lost to the Cowboys a few years ago, 2023, 74-0. We've lost to the Roosters 72-6 in 2022. I think we lost to the Storm last year, 64-0. Unfortunately, I'm used to these sort of games. This isn't like a moment where I'm like, I can't believe this happened. This has happened 3 times at least in the last 4 years. It's one thing to defend it, but my reality is I'm not going to blame Benji, and I know some of the players were really, really poor today, The problem is you got a bunch of reserve graders out there, like a handful of them. You just can't change that. If those same reserve grade players or the players I deem to be reserve grade standard are out there next week, it's going to be the same result. A shit sandwich is a shit sandwich. Okay, we're not changing it. And I don't know how he picks 17 first graders next week. There's a half a dozen blokes there who I'd have in my team every week. We're missing 4 today, and people are going at me saying that I'm making excuses for the team. I'm not making excuses for the team, but the reality is we had a few blokes in there that pretty much played cup all year, playing against a team that's won 4 of the last 5 premierships and have lost 1 game all year. So reality check, we don't have the squad, okay? We don't have the depth. So if you want to shit on the team and say, oh, it's not good enough, of course it's not good enough, but there's a few players that aren't first grade standard. And like I said to you guys in the green room, swap 3 players from each team around and tell me that's 68-0 if we get a couple of – give them Guy and Murray and someone else, okay, and give us 2 of their good forwards.
Was ironic during Origin period that they were at full strength.
I know, that's probably how bad we are. But the point I'm trying to make is you can't say that, you know, not having Twal and Samuela in that pack doesn't make a difference, or Adam and Taylor, not just for their defence, but what they bring in attack and the threat that they can cause the opposition. So it might not have won the game, guys, but – you know, and it's not an excuse. We should have players that can cope, but we don't have them, guys.
Mate, last week they rested the majority of their State of Origin players, if not all of them, and they beat the side coming second.
But how many was that? 2 or 3?
No. I'd have to go through and see how many it was.
Cleary, Yo, and maybe Tyler. I can't remember.
And so their main key players, they rested them. They still beat the side coming second. Now, I'm actually going to use that to support your point, because that squad with their key players out beat the side running second. You're 100% right. Our depth isn't strong enough. And that's not an excuse. That's actually being highly critical of.
But that's what I'm getting told on social media, that I'm making an excuse, but it's just a fact. We don't have the depth.
It's actually highly critical of where we are as a club, and we're still building. But it's highly critical of where we are as a club is that we don't have that depth. We don't have those players there. And we came up against the best team by far in the competition today, a side that rested most of their players last week. And we just don't have the players to compete with them at that level.
So on that point, what's a little bit concerning, we've said this before, right? We know, like we've got a longer list of first grade players than we had last year. Right?
Correct.
We agree with that. And we've all agreed that under that, we've just got too many players that aren't even close to first grade standard, right? They might get there, some of them, not all of them. The thing that's a real concern is this week it's coming out, and last week it's come out that, you know, Royce Hunt might be on the move. Seafarth has been told he can look elsewhere. Like, just focusing on the forwards for a minute, we need, like what we're putting up in the forward pack, once our top 6 aren't there, is just hopeless.
Murray,
right?
Geyer, nowhere near standard.
Nowhere near it.
Nowhere near standard.
And we need Seafarth and we need Hunt, even if they're playing reserve grade, right? That's the depth we need. And then put a better player on top of that. We can't lose them and replace them with someone similar, because there's no difference, right?
Well, we saw how poorly we went against Manly 2 games ago. Okay, we got towed. Then the next week we got Appy back, we got Buller back, we got Twal back. And I know Canterbury aren't travelling well, but we beat them. Now, we obviously didn't have Twal this week, but we're still missing, like I said, those 4 key guys. You can't tell me that doesn't make a difference. We might not win the game, but you're not going to get towed. You cannot tell me Charlie Murray is Alex Twal, and you can't tell me that Samuela Fainu is Mav Geyer at all. The last time Mav Geyer played first grade for Penrith, Jacob Preston scored a hat-trick that night on his edge. And all you saw in the highlights today was him missing tackles.
But I don't think anyone expected us to win the game. You said Tuesday to me, 23.5 won't be enough start.
I said
that.
But
what I want to know is, you said Appy and Buller played today. It was only 12 from last week that was missing.
Yep.
Surely there's some sort of mentality thing going wrong there, that you can turn up with such defensive resolve last week. I know it's against Canterbury. You don't have half the attack Penrith do. That you can be 26-0 down after 20 minutes.
It's the margin that concerns me the most. I think we've always needed everyone to be on their game, okay? We played really well against South. We lost because Skelton didn't put his hand on a ball. We played unbelievably well against Brisbane. We lost because Macassini did a couple of knock-ons. We were competitive with Cronulla in the first half. Young winger Tavana drops a few. We need everyone to be on. So then when you take 4 or 5 players out of the team, like, how did we go with all these players out? I know Taylor was there, but no Appy and no Buller.
It was the same.
And it was the same. It just shows we got no depth.
There's something else today, though. And look, I'm not using this as an excuse. This is not an excuse for 68 points. That was a horrendous
There's
performance.
no excuse for 68
there
points.
isn't.
None.
But I'm going to say this, all right? I'm absolutely fed up. I'm absolutely freaking sick of it that every single bloody game we end up with 6 agains against us on the 4th and 5th tackle, 1, 2, 3 in a row in the first 15, 20 minutes. Like, I can understand that it happens occasionally, but it happens every bloody week. Surely we're not that undisciplined. I'm so sick of it. Like, we had no chance today.
That's why I was filthy at Benji last week, because we had a win and he was in there saying, oh, well, the Bulldogs, we got some lucky calls. I thought, no, make a marker for next week. And he obviously can't mention the ref when you lose by 68. You just can't.
Yeah, I get that. I get it. But, you know, it could have been a very different afternoon. And I'm not saying that, like, we should be more resilient. Absolutely we should be. But fair income, that bloke today refereed 2 teams at 2 different standards up too early. And then he gives these piss weak penalties and 6 agains at the back end of the half on 0 tackle or the first tackle and tries to even it up a little bit. It just happens too often. It happens every bloke. When do we ever look at each other 20 minutes into a game and say, geez, we've had a good run with the 6 agains?
Oh, we've had a couple. Cowboys in round 1. They had a sin bin. Broncos.
Not often.
See, I put in the first minute on our group chat. This is like at 0-all. This is Melbourne again. It was 6 again, 6 again.
Well, it was 18 tackles before and we actually held out
but
that
we
first
held, we
initial
held, that's the
surge.
thing. We held them out, and then we have a Fanua Bole drop ball off not a good pass, but he did gather the ball, then dropped it.
But it
They
doesn't
score.
hurt. It doesn't hurt after that 18th tackle.
Hurts
It
after 15
hurts
minutes,
15
yeah.
minutes
I know,
later.
but we showed the resilience to hold them out. Then we make an error, they get 6-0. Okay, and then Murray drops the ball, it goes 12-0.
Taruva threw it out.
Then from the kickoff, Penrith kicked the ball dead in goal.
great.
So we've resisted again, and then Taruva throws a pass that accidentally goes 3 metres forward. They go to 18-0. So just there, forget the next 50 points. But the point I'm trying to make is we did hold out a little bit early, but then it was our own errors.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I agree with you. The refs hate us, especially Atkins. He's one of him and G. They're pretty much up there, and Klein. But I can't blame that on the refs totally. But you're right. They were always going to make Penrith run downhill.
Yeah, and I'm not blaming it totally either. Like we have feet, as long as I can remember, made errors and not been able to defend them, right? And it was changing, but it's reverted back at the moment. But I'm just saying, if that doesn't happen, maybe those errors don't happen, right?
Yeah, because of
we're under
fatigue. Perhaps. Yeah, I get all that.
For me, I'm not a big person that will sit here and say the ref did this and that they cost us this.
You're a big person.
I am a big person, a very big person. But what we can control is what we have to look at.
Correct.
We can control those fundamental errors. And those errors aren't fatigue errors. They were rubbish, fundamental errors. If we don't make those fundamental errors, that resilience we showed in that first 18 tackles, that first 5 minutes of the game, that becomes a thing you grow from. But we went down and we made fundamental errors. And it wasn't just a Charlie Murray, who is a reserve grade player. It was Appy. He threw a really bad pass to Pole. Pole actually caught it and then just dropped it cold. So he's another experienced player. And the third one was Taruva throwing a terrible pass. Like, he just had to hang on to that ball. They're the fundamental errors that put us on the back foot. I know the referee put us in a bad position, but we defended that. That should be where you then grow from that, take that, we've defended that, and take the confidence from that and go down and re-engage in the game, and we just simply couldn't do that today.
Look, I don't disagree with most of what you're saying. I do disagree that fundamental errors can be because of fatigue. A drop ball can be lack of concentration, looking at the opposition defensive line, or it can be fatigue. And I'm not using it as an excuse, right?
Our experienced players need to be better under
But
that.
the Taruva one is scoreboard pressure too. We're down 12-0.
But I'm just saying
he's looking
the
to
deck
make a break.
The deck is stacked against us week after week after week, and I'm flipping sick of it.
I want to know, though, because surely it'd be a talking point at training for Benji. In these last 4 blowouts, we've conceded a 6 again on the 4th or 5th in the first set most times. So surely guys are on the field to go and get off him. Like, that's the bad thing about the 6s again. It happens so quick, and you go, what the hell was that actually for? Was it blatant today, or you got no idea? I got no idea.
I asked this question a few weeks ago on the pod, a genuine question. I said, and you guys said to me, ask Benji when you see him, right? Like, do you talk about the 6 agains, All right? Or do you talk about defending the error, or do you talk about not making the error? And we're saying, well, it's hard to know how to defend not making the error when you don't know what the bloody error is.
He's probably only got a couple of sprays in him a year. It sounded like they asked him, I think, what did you say to the boys at half time? And he said, you don't want to know.
It didn't help.
I think the hard thing for us is we couldn't stop the rot, okay? If you look at our team pre-season, our three-quarter line was four wingers. We had Makasini on left wing and Taruva on the right wing at the start of the year. They're both playing in the centres. Every time they shifted to our right, so Taruva and Tavana's wings, the spacing wasn't right. They actually weren't shifting the ball that great, and they created space and they create overlap. And again, that could come down to coaching. That might be Benji's fault. It might be, why is Tavana giving the Jenkins so much room there? And I think that came about because Penrith were punching through the middle the first 10, 15 minutes or so, and they were making some damage, so we compressed our defence a bit. Then every time they wanted to go left or right, they were doing a job on us, but it just seemed they were having a harder time going right than left. And it seemed, like I said, every time they made a break, I'm like, why is Tavana holding hands with Taruva? Like that, there's just something there, like from a technical point of view, probably something that Adel could address better than any of us could, but that's something Benji's got to address because we couldn't stop a set of six. It was like every time we couldn't hold them.
You know something else they were doing to try to counter the way Penrith play is they were racing out of the line trying to push them back in, and when you're doing that, of course, that's going to, if you get the pass outside of that guy who's rushed up, then you've got the extra man, you've got the extra space, right? So that they were doing that early. I can't talk about the structure after that because it just fell to pieces. But I do think it was a real strategy to try to get up and in,
but
and stop the ball from getting out.
Even Jenkins' try from the scrum. Okay, when Penrith ran that shape, they were running 45 degrees and sideways, and the only reason they got past was because Tavana again was too close and too in. Like everyone else did their job defensively.
Yeah, we actually defended it really well, except for the last man.
He was too close. So that's something you can definitely address there. I don't know. I think in terms of personnel, you nailed it with the forward pack. We said in the off season we felt we were a prop or two short. Boy, are we feeling it now because when you lose Twal and if ever we lose Terrell.
And we've now lost Hunt.
Well, Hunt only plays 20 minutes, but at least he's a big body.
The impact that he has when he comes on, he's the only guy we have in that forward pack who can shift momentum.
Yeah.
If you watch when he first came on, he did 2 hit-ups in that first set. One of them he got a 6 again because he got a really nice quick play the ball. And then he did another one, and that's what we need. We don't have the guy that can shift the momentum for us when Hunt's not on the field.
You can tell Penrith did their homework because I mentioned in the preview show, I think for Manly, I said, watch out for a Manly early spread from the kickoff. And then Penrith today pulled our pants down with a forward throwing a torpedo to Jenkins to make that break. They did their homework. And honestly, I felt like Penrith went through their whole trick playbook, even just before half-time. The grubber kick that Dylan Edwards didn't end up gathering, there could have been another try before half-time. I just thought it was a training run, but they brought out all their toys and their tools to play with, and we were the targets and the dummies for it.
They were absolutely clinical today, and they didn't really take their foot off the pedal at all. They just the whole 80 minutes they dominated us.
They knew they could play without fear. They knew nothing was going to hurt them from us, and that was actually, it was men against boys.
I know it's not a Penrith podcast, but that's the thing that's so impressive about them is you've got teams that are possibly equally as talented in Roosters and Broncos and Storm, but to do it year after year and game after game, they just seem to be ruthless.
Well, halfway through the year, they've lost one game. I don't know how many buys they've had. They've probably had one at least.
And it's player after player. Like whoever steps in, just like we talk about our guys step in and they're just not up to it. Like at Penrith, it doesn't matter. Someone just steps in and does a job.
What about their confidence, though? Like we were talking on last week's podcast, like they're playing the second best team in the comp, New Zealand, a chance to go 4 points ahead, or they'll be tied if they lose. They're like, no worries, we'll rest Cleary, and they still win.
They should have rested them this week.
They've got so much confidence. It wouldn't have mattered. They still would have won.
Last one on Benji, because he's been big talking about standards and culture, and we've seen evidence of that improvement on the field, but do those words start to become a little bit hollow, considering 4 of the 5 nature of the defeats? I know personnel is an issue at the moment and injuries, but is that sort of the marathon of the NRL season? Is that starting to take our toll on our mentality?
I don't think the mentality was great today. I don't think the effort was great today. I think Benji mentioned in his press conference that when you get beat by 60-odd, that the effort can't be great. I hate to say this right now because I'm not very happy right now. I think that mentality side of it comes down to how they show up next week. It's really hard when it's been 4 from 5. We've had 40 points put through us. That's really hard to come back from. That's really hard to build the confidence back from. Benji spoke very, very well in that press conference. I liked his talk about standards. I liked his talk about non-negotiables. We'll see whether that actually eventuates next weekend. It has to eventuate next weekend.
Because you think, I know this probably leads into the refs, and we've already talked about the ref, but you think the start would be the easiest point to be competitive in a game because players are fresh. But I think Penrith completed their first 13 sets and we were 4 from 8, which is just unacceptable.
Yeah, and I think it just in today's game, it just takes so much juice out of you. It's very hard to arrest that. You know, you used to see, like just look at last year, you'd see games and the ebb and flow, right? Like someone would be on top for 10, 15 minutes and they might get 6 points, 12 points ahead. Then the other team comes back and scores a try. And it sort of goes like this. At the moment, it's like teams get that momentum and they're going 6, 12, 18, 24 within a blink of an eye. And you've been defending and scrambling so crazily for that period that when you do get the ball, you can't do anything with it. And I think that's what a lot of it is all about.
The style of football we play, we have to complete high. And those three, I will keep going back to it, those 3 errors at the start of the game, that wrote us off for the game. If we don't have an 80, 85-plus completion rate, especially against a side like Penrith, we're going to struggle to stay in the game.
But it's not just the simple errors of ball handling or a bad pass. Like we have to take into effect that basic tackling and positional play and spacing is just as fundamental as you passing a ball to me and me dropping it.
The 2 dummy half tries.
I was just about to say from a backup hooker. Backup hooker.
Were terrible defensive efforts. And Terrell May has excellent stats out of that game, but he made a couple of really poor decisions defensively that really hurt us today, and we've got to be better. Our defensive, not just tackling technique, but our positioning, our defensive awareness, to let those 2 dummy half tries in.
You're not fixing that in a week. You're not fixing that in a week. Sorry.
Just back on that mentality question, is it a different mentality to 2025 or are we back to 2025?
No, I'm not going to say we're back to 2025 because, look, I put out a tweet during the week that I probably shouldn't have used the word elite. I probably should have said these are the players or the right pieces that I think we have for our best starting 13. I basically wrote 10 names down and I left out a centre, a winger, and I left out 1 prop. I think our best starting team, we've got 10 great starters and 4 of them are missing right now. So we've really only got 6 pieces, in my opinion, in a starting 13 that we should have. Now, if you had 7 other different players today, how are you going to be competitive? Like I'm talking about 10 out of 13 is a really good team, and today we only had 6. Now I know it doesn't help, and the problem is other clubs bring in a Charlie Murray or a Mav Guy and they do a job. Mav Guy was beyond awful today, and I don't want to go too hard on too many players, but just look at every try and every tackle and getting even carried back by was it Lindsay Smith?
Yep.
I think he just carried him 7 or 8 metres. You're a forward on a forward, mate. Like if you can't tackle, like you can't be there next week, and that's Benji's problem.
It's who's around them, right?
But you told me Ethan Roberts is in a moon boot. You've told me Tony Suka's injured. We've just lost Royce Hunt today. Apparently Bunty Afoe is not up to it for whatever that reason. I mean, like who do you end up picking? Like Benji has to pick 17 players next week, and we're not going to have 17 competitive players, and that's the worry. I just don't know how you change his performance if it's the same personnel.
But look, it's 2 things. Look, we've already said it. It's depth. We've said that, and the number of injuries. Like so, it's all right to bring a Charlie Murray up. It's when Charlie Murray is next to the next bloke and the next bloke and the next bloke. We've just got too many guys that are in our starting 13 or starting 17 that just can't work together. Well, we can't cover for them.
Correct.
But is it Alex Twile make that much difference? It wasn't like we were missing a heap from last week we played.
I think Alex Twile does make that much difference.
Mate, his form this year, he should have been in the State of Origin conversation the way he was playing. He drives our line speed. He doesn't miss a tackle. He actually has impact when he runs the ball now. He's got an offload now. He can pass before the line now. He is absolute, and I never thought I'd say it, he is absolutely critical to the way this team plays football in 2026.
I don't think I've seen stats like it in the game.
I haven't seen them yet, so share them, please, if you want to.
15 line breaks to 1. I don't think I've ever seen 15 before. Run meters were about 2,300 to 900.
Oof.
Like, they talk about defence being an attitude, but is that half an old school saying? Because is it partly the system that's letting it down, or is it just the personnel, or is it attitude, or it's a bit of everything spread around?
It probably is a bit of everything, but I won't say it's a bit of everything. I'm actually going to say a lot of it's personnel. A lot of it is as simple as technique and not being able to tackle. We've said how well Alex Seyfarth played earlier in the year because he only had to come on for those 20-minute periods, and he's playing with the bulk of a really good pack. And honestly, Alex Seyfarth today looked like Sonny Bill Williams compared to Mav Geyer and Charlie Murray. Like, I've been bagging him, and then after seeing what these other two blokes were like, I'm like, no, please, Alex, like, you know, you're a lot better than these guys. That's how poor we are. And, like, we know that Alex Seyfarth isn't kind of the player we expect him to be in general to have a permanent spot. We're just in a hole in terms of our roster now, and in some way, I think it's actually a good thing that we got pumped. I think it just
Identifies the problems.
Identifies a good thing.
No, but it's a reality check because if that game ends up today 42-18 with a second half comeback, we just got off to a slow start and we have to be better and we should have done what we did in the second. At least the fact that we got absolutely pumped to the shithouse, like there's no sugarcoating that and there's no hiding from it. Like all the wounds are ripped off and you can see what's going on there and we have to address it.
Is there? I know we have to address it, but is there any solution for this season, or are you talking about next season?
There's no solution this season because I don't think we have players coming back for next week. We have to beat the Gold Coast to stay in it.
Well, I was amazed. You know, I always look at the betting odds, but like, how are we going to beat them next week if Appy gets picked for Origin? We're $1.40.
I'll tell you now, even if he doesn't get picked, we're not winning next week.
You know what? The fact we lost by 70 today probably helps us because we will come out fired up last week.
And I said that to you privately, didn't I?
But I don't know when the Origin team gets announced, but like I'll look at our next month, and we've got the Dragons and the Titans before Origin. If Appy gets picked, their games, I don't think we'll win.
I highly doubt Appy will be picked. He's playing busted. He was limping again after the game. He's barely training from what I can see.
Well, that's a relief if he's not going to be picked.
So I don't think they'll take him into an Origin side because he looks like he's carrying an injury to me. So I don't see them picking.
Are you going to at some stage go through who we think will be in our 17 next week or not tonight?
Yeah, it's part
because
of the
I'm trying to think who do we pick next week. Like it's literally that's
how
you fix things. Do I want to have a run?
Yeah, we might as well just.
You can play 11 minutes.
I'm too embarrassed to admit this. I don't even know who's left in the forward pool that we can select. I don't even know who played.
You can't start Mav Geyer again.
Who starts
ever.
I don't care.
Let's do it now. Who starts left edge?
I'd rather start with 12 players and have Mav Geyer in the team.
That's a bit harsh.
No, it's very harsh. I don't give a shit.
Alex Seyfarth has to go back to the edge, and I never thought I'd ever say that again.
Yep.
I think he's our best option there. I can't play Guy there.
Did Suka play today?
I don't know. I haven't looked at the cup score. It was on the cup side, but it was on.
I'll try and find it on the app while we're talking.
Really, that Ethan Roberts injury really hurts me. I'd be playing him on that. Well,
it depends how severe it is. Is it a precautionary thing? Is it serious?
They told us at the start of the season you'd be out of the moon boot in a couple of days, and he was in it for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm not real confident now he's back in a moon boot. We'll see him anytime soon. It gets really, really difficult on that left edge. Hopefully, we've got guys like
Sione's back next week though.
Sione's back.
You
next
wouldn't play
week.
him there.
I don't like Sione playing on the edge. I'd probably play him at lock. I think I'd start him in that lock role and have him share that with Latu. Hopefully Adam Dewey's back next week. I think that would make a difference.
I think Stafford Toll's got to come in. I think
maybe Herbert if he's available.
Herbert is available, but Taruva's got to go back to the wing and Stafford Toll back to the right centre. That's got to happen. Like Macassini, I've only watched the game live, right? So it's hard to get a feel, but we'll look at it.
He was carrying that shoulder all game today.
Yeah. But he was making some good. He made some good ball and all defensive reads today.
And he had a real crack with what he. I don't know how badly injured it is.
He's banged up though. Like every time he gets tackled, he looks sore. Like that's the thing about our re-signings. While we're talking about depth and etc. Like it's been a great period for re-signings, but they're all our starters. None of them really address our depth. How are we going to address our depth?
I don't know, especially if we're
in future
upgrading.
seasons.
If we're upgrading current players to better money and better deals, that's less money for the rest of the players. So
what you need is guys like Ethan Roberts taking the next step. I think if he has a decent off season, I think there is a good player there. He's got a lot to work on defensively, but with the ball, he looks like a guy who can cause some damage with the ball on an edge. You just need those sort of guys to take the next step. That's sadly where we're stuck at the moment, and we need a number of those younger guys coming through to take that step.
Bit of a concern because, I mean, guys like, it's been rumoured in the media that guys like Royce Hunt, Seyfarth, Toa could be on the chopping block, but they're probably those 18, 19, 20 guys, not the 24, 25, 29, 30 guys.
That's right. You actually want Seyfarth to be a guy who comes in when our first couple
Plays
of
8
players
games
go.
a year, 10
Yeah,
games
that's
a
right. And just sits underneath because he'll do a good job doing that, right? But we're going to get. I said this earlier. We're going to get rid of him and bring someone else in who's it's like for like. So you're not actually improving your roster. You're just swapping and changing like for, and it's no good. But anyway, we don't know how much money they've paid to keep the players we want to pay. Maybe the money's not there. Maybe the other thing is, and we don't know this either. Well, I don't. Is Seyfarth on too much for what he produces? Is Hunt on too much for what he produces? And maybe they're saying, well, let's let them go. Bring two players in that are going to give similar output, but we're going to pay them less. Maybe that's the thought.
And we have done some stuff to improve our depth. I think that signing of Averillo really helps that depth because
But he's a genuine starter. I suppose that improves.
He's
the
a
depth
genuine
as it is.
starter,
Yeah.
but he improves that fullback depth for you because
not on small money though.
You know what? $650 for a good centre who can also.
I think it's a great signing.
Also play in the halves and can play fullback. That really improves our depth, and it allows us, if Dream Buller goes down injured again like he has this year, instead of playing Heath Mason, you're playing a guy like Jack Averillo there, and you put someone else into the centres where we do have a little bit more depth that's being tested right now. But I think those sort of signings, I've always said the way you improve your depth is not by signing depth players. Depth players come and go. You improve your depth by signing first graders and pushing those guys who aren't quite there down.
You can't get rid of your 5 or 6 decent depth players.
No, and that's the problem.
And that's what we're doing. Right?
A guy like Alex Seyfarth, his whole career at our club, he should have been a depth player. But we've had him as a starter, a first choice starter for big chunks of his career. That's what we've got to improve in our club. And getting rid of guys like Alex Seyfarth, getting rid of the guys we need to get rid of are the guys who are never going to make it to that level or don't contribute when they play at that level. And I don't like bagging people out, but guys like Tristan Hope, they're guys we can't afford to have on our roster because he's the next man up. Guys like Charlie Murray, we saw today that he's not at the standard we need him to be. These are the depth players we need to be swapping in and out, not those guys that are probably, as you were saying a moment ago, that 18, 19. We need to be getting around that 20 to 25.
It was rumoured also that Skelton perhaps on the other. Do you have to be ruthless mid-season with some of these guys and say start looking around?
Depends how many guys we decide who's capable of playing wing and who's capable of playing centre and what they can do. I'd say Skelton's on the outer just because in Benji's minds we've got too many wingers. Taruva and Makasini are meant to be our starting wingers. And then you've got Tavana. I'd keep Skelton. I love him. I think I know he's got the odd brain fade in him and mistake, but he's a
They
meter
all
eater.
played dumb football today, so I don't think there's from some of the football we saw today, there's not a lot of intelligence along
The disappointing
them.
thing for me, I like the type of player Bunty Afoa is in the sense that he's a journeyman. He's played a lot of first grade games. He would come to you cheap, but he, like you said, he hasn't delivered. But they're the sort of signings I want to find a 28, 29-year-old.
That's what I don't want to praise Gus Gould because I actually think he's done a poor job with the Canterbury roster. But those first 2 years when they were in the trenches, he bought a lot of utilities with a bit of first grade experience to.
Yeah, a little bit of money ball going on there. I think we need guys that can offer a little bit more. But the problem is now we go from like sort of 8 out of 10 to 3 out of 10, and we don't have enough 5 or 6 out of 10s in our squad.
In saying that, I think our outside backs are if we keep Stafford, I think we're almost there because we've got if Averillo's coming as we think he is, because then we've got Taylor May and Averillo as our starting centres. We've got and in the backup we've got Makasini who can play centre, who'll push out to the wing
and who will eventually be a centre.
Yeah, that's right. And then you got Tavana who'll be playing reserve grade. You've got Skelton who will probably start the season at reserve grade.
I don't think we can keep all of them, Steve. I agree with you, but I don't think we can keep all of them.
This is the thing. Like, I don't understand the dollars of it because I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But this is what we need. This is what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
But we've got to find a way so we can have a player of Skelton standard in reserve grade, ready to jump up when needed. And we hope Adel comes through as well. And the other guy, is he secure? Is he centre or back row? He can play both, can't he?
he scored 4 tries on the wing last week. He can play centre and he can play second row.
Yeah, okay.
That's the other thing too. Are we holding off announcing Averillo because we have to release someone before we officially announce it?
Maybe.
What's the next point of call? Not just in terms, not a player itself, but position. Where would you go if you next? We signed a right centre now. Looks like Averillo. Would you go in the forwards?
I go in the forwards definitely, and like we said, we say we don't want to bag people. We've bagged a few tonight.
I never bag anyone.
I think Fanua Bole is a bench player at best.
He's gone backwards.
I'm just not seeing the
He was
development.
great last week.
He's gone backwards
But
as
he's
a
very
player.
But
inconsistent.
was he great last week? I mean, even today he got sidestepped by a forward one-on-one like touch football. So I'm not worried about the drop
He
ball.
got beat a number of times.
He's just getting beaten too easily for a guy that's meant to be a starter. If he wants to come on and be our Royce Hunt and run a few balls off the back fence and play 30 or 40 minutes, I can live with that. But I don't think he's a starter, so we definitely need a prop.
I don't understand why, that hasn't been the case that he goes to the bench and Sione starts in the middle. I think Sione is but he was playing. Look, he's been shoved around Sione this year. Like last year when he was playing middle, he was coming on as a middle. He was doing a good job. I would be starting Sione in the middle with Terrell May, and bringing Pole on because we look. You're right. We look loose. We look loose in that middle when he's out there defending.
Those senior players, Benji sort of mentioned it in the press conference. Do they have to take a little bit of ownership of what goes on when it becomes a snowball effect? Or there's only so many Churchillian speeches you can give behind the goal line. Is there anything they can do in game to help some of the less experienced guys around them that they didn't do today?
If you listen to Appy speak today, he was saying it felt like a washing machine out there, and I think they just lost control of the game completely and just could not get it back. And it must be such a hard situation as a leader of the side that you want to shift that momentum and get the game going forward again. But I don't think there was a lot they could do today. It was just Penrith were too clinical.
But if the back line could make a stand and defend a block shape every now and then, like from Penrith's own end, we stopped that momentum. We couldn't do it. They were making 50 and 60 metres every set at one stage. There are things we can do. We need to be better, but like a lot of teams, we make a lot of teams look better than they are. Haven't seen Cronulla pump anyone like they did since they did it to us. Manly, they did it to us. I mean, they did do it to the Dolphins, so they have done that a few times. But when teams seem to play against us, they look better than they do against any other team.
We didn't make Penrith look better than they were today.
We've started Melbourne's revival.
Penrith are absolutely outstanding. They are far and away the best team in the comp.
What about the halves, Steve? Because we sort of speculated the last month, assuming Adam's not back next week.
Yeah.
He'd be touch and go, I assume. But
Madden
I
picked
don't
up
know.
an injury today too.
Yeah, but we've said that a few times. I feel like he's beat up at the moment, Jock, and his kicking game's struggling. And Penrith went at him defensively and made ground down that side.
Yeah, I thought Jerome. I thought he kicked well today. I thought, especially early in the game. I think he defended with a lot of heart and a lot of courage. So I think he's there. I would be really tempted, I think, now to give Latu a go. I don't think Jock played well at all today. I don't think he's fit enough to be playing at his best. So I think it might be time to give him either back to reserves.
Why
or
isn't he
off.
getting a run? Why isn't he starting at halfback, Latu?
The only thing I can put it down to is a little bit of a confidence sort of issue, and
It can't be lack of confidence. If
No,
you
you
play
know,
in
mate, it's not.
he's
You know
a
what I
young
reckon
kid
it
that's
is?
playing the halves.
It's because
very
because
quiet.
Appy's busted, so therefore Appy cannot push through 80. So
Can't rely on hope.
we can't rely on hope. So they want Latu to play that role.
We've been talking about Latu as the next halfback for a long time.
He's got to start.
I'm just saying. I just said I'd be putting Latu in. But
what
think
I
that's
worry
why.
about with Latu is his voice. Whether he has a loud enough voice.
Well, he can't be a halfback full stop if he's got no voice.
Well, some guys, as they get a little bit older, Dream Buller, when he first came into that side, was very, very quiet at the back. He now, even today, his voice is very loud out on that field. He directs our defence to at least mark up very, very well. I think Latu is just a guy that needs to grow into his voice because I don't think he has that yet. But that's a
You're a
personal
Latu
opinion.
fan, but what's going on there?
Yeah, I think I said
It's time.
something similar to what Gary said in the last couple of weeks. He's just not. Look, Madden's been there. I didn't like Madden's kicking game today, but again,
woeful.
with Madden, with Luai, how do you pick on halves when your forwards are getting beat up? You can't. No halves do well behind a beaten pack. So I was just disappointed some of those kicks were open. They were going to the open side, like it wasn't pinning him in a corner.
There was some disorganisation there on the last early in the game.
Terrell May got the ball once, for God's sake.
But those kicks that he did put in when we did actually have a little bit of field position, why wasn't Tavana the target? Why were we
They were little pissy chip kicks, weren't they?
I don't get that. Tavana, like we've spoken about how good he actually is in the air, despite him dropping 1,000 balls against Cronulla.
He was great today in the air, except for one kick,
Yeah.
but he was very good.
So I don't know why he wasn't a target today, especially coming up against Jenkins. I think he had that's a pretty good matchup for him, and I'm really surprised that wasn't a target when we did have those opportunities.
I think nothing for me has changed in the sense that when we've got our full team, we're really competitive. The problem is I don't see us having a full team on the field for the rest of the year. I just didn't know it would be this bad.
Again,
when a few of them were
on
missing.
social media, fans going at Jerome. Is that just an easy play for Tigers fans when you
It's
get
just
lost by 68?
Going at him because he threw a weird pass at 30 nil down.
Missed 5 tackles in the first half, apparently.
He always misses 4 or 5 tackles every game. That's not an issue.
I honestly don't know what else you could expect from the game he had today because there just wasn't the opportunities. We weren't in that red zone at all. His kicking game I thought was really strong.
really good.
His kicking game was good early.
So the aspects that he had control of in that game, I thought he actually did very well. So I'm not going to sit here and say he had a great game in his 5 tackles. No one really had a great game outside of Dream Buller, I thought, who tried hard all game. So I find it very hard to be critical of Luai today.
Some of those outside backs' performances, Steve, it's hard to look at individuals today, but I thought without Jareem at the back, we'd probably lose 80 or 90.
100%.
Yeah, Dream Buller was my pick, for our best player. He just never stops, right? He just never stops. He's there for everything. He's great. And again, we've talked about this before, his ability to talk to the team defensively and try to get us into the right positions defensively are important. But our outside backs, especially Tavana, they got run around pretty easily. I think you said it earlier, didn't you?
They kept going down his side. Even
yeah.
I think it was the first try for Alamotti. Like Macassini's gone in too far. Like he's just been beaten too easily. Then when the numbers are even, he's young. He's learning. I get all that, but the point is we're getting our pants pulled down for you go through all those tries, and a lot of them are pretty simple. And you did mention the referee early, which I'm not going to blame referee in a 68-0, but there was a disruptor on Macassini. We didn't get a penalty.
That was dreadful.
There was, what was the other one? Sorry, that was an escort. There was a disruptor on Tavana when he actually did catch a ball from Jenkins. He didn't get a penalty. There was a Dream Buller made a break that probably should have been a sin bin. It was a professional foul. We didn't even get anything. We actually got a 6 again from the next tackle. What I'm trying to say is it doesn't make it any better. It probably makes it 48-0 instead of 68-0. But the point is it shouldn't be that bad. It shouldn't be. Literally everything that went wrong could go wrong. And I think Adel mentioned on the chat today, the icing on the cake was the Cleary banana kick that just lands on its point and room service bounced to Brian Toto. It is skill, but for that ball to bounce like that onto Brian Toto's midriff the way it did.
That at training, Cleary.
I'm not saying the kick was the kick was a perfect kick. I'm saying the bounce that came to Toto was just incredible.
There are some potential solutions in the back line if Herbert and Toa are available next week. Would you make changes? Because as much as I love Taruva and I love him, he's really struggling in the centres and Macassini's banged up.
Yeah, I want Taruva back onto a wing. So, yeah, I'd probably play both Toa and possibly Herbert next week and play them both. And, yeah, Macassini, I think, though had a really good run where he nearly scored today, but I think he needs more time on the wing.
Who would drop out of the side then, Skelton or Tavana, if Taruva goes back to the wing?
Well, I'd be taking Tavana out and putting him back. I think he was very good today, but defensively he just got caught inside too much.
Your back line next week?
Yeah, pretty similar. Look, if Macassini's right to go, I'd be playing Macassini ahead of Herbert. If you really want Herbert in there, you could push Macassini out to the wing, drop both wingers. But I'd be the same as Gary. I'd be going Skelton ahead of Savannah.
I think Benji will go your way and he will pick Macassini. I would go both centres being Herbert and Toa.
Yeah, I think Macassini needs a week off.
I think he needs a week off. I'd have Skelton on the left and Taruva on the right wing. And then if Adam's back or Latu in the halves or something, that would be a help. But how do we fix the forwards? That you just can't play a game with Kai Pearce-Paul and Terrell May and Appy Coruscant. We need some grunt there. We need some horsepower. We don't have it.
Are there any solutions in the forward in the short term for next week? We've said that Pole's perhaps, and I agree with Rob, he's perhaps a better bench player, but who starts if he doesn't start? Hunt's going to be out for
Well,
one.
I think he's going to start, even though I think he's a bench player.
no.
See, I'd say I'd go to Sione straight away, but I think he's going to be out on the left edge, right? And that's probably the best option we've got at the moment. Is I don't like him out on an edge.
I'd play safe off on the edge before Sione next week.
Yeah, okay. I don't think Benji will
What's
do
happened
that.
to Suka? Is he just totally out of favour now? He's playing poorly in reserve?
I looked it up. I couldn't tell if he played or not, but he was named in Cup. So I don't know if he played or not.
Yeah, he was injured a couple of weeks ago. If he's not injured, I would look at giving him a shot.
What else do we want to talk about, boys? We're doing a 3-2-1. Rob, I'm trying to stretch it out to close to an hour. It's not easy when it's 68-0.
Very easy for me. Dream Buller 6 points. He can have the 3, the 2 and the 1. I don't think anyone else was deserving of the standard. He still looked dangerous even when he was bringing the ball back. He was making a lot of half breaks, didn't drop a bomb. Positionally was outstanding. It just wasn't a game for him to get involved in attack because we weren't on the front foot and he wasn't getting any good ball. So I don't have one other good player today, but that's just how it's going to be when you're getting beat up like that.
Yeah, I'm going Taruva for my 3. I had
Taruva?
Sorry,
I was going to say I nearly
Buller.
fell.
Sorry.
For Penrith, he was
This
the
is what
best
happens when
player.
you get beaten 68-0.
You sure
right?
you haven't had the head issue?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to
maybe.
Ruva for a 3-metre forward pass, not the 3 points.
No, I just want Junior to know, mate. I'm thinking of Taruva.
Okay.
Still alive, Junior, by the way.
Yeah, Junior's good.
Good to know.
I gave him first shot today, but
He's turning into me a little bit. He's starting to get a little bit cynical.
I would give a point or two to Terrell. I know he missed that tackle there towards the end, but he still topped the run meters, topped the tackle count. He's still a workhorse. Worked his backside off.
I have to agree with Rob. I'm only giving Buller points.
Is that something, I don't want to get sidetracked here, but I love the fact that Benji encourages all our boys to be themselves, and they've got a heavy presence there on socials, the May brothers and a couple of them. But is it something where you look at some of these games and you think sometimes they do lose a little bit of focus, some of our senior guys? Because I know we're down on troops, but it's not a good look when you're putting out pranks of, pranking the team that we're going to PNG on a Wednesday and stuff, and it's big, and then you come out and you get beat by 68. I know it's a new age coach and their new generation and whatnot, but do we have a focus problem from week to week? Because it was more an issue in the past where we'd struggle to back up a good win with another good performance, but I feel like it's creeping in a little bit this year where we have a good win and everyone exhales, and then all of a sudden the next week we're terrible.
I can't say if that's the reason or not. I mean, you make a good point, but look, every coach has to treat their team with their own personality and how they want them to be. And if our boys are comfortable doing that,
I love it.
I don't think it affects Terrell May's performance when he does it. It'd be, if our worst player,
It's pretty ordinary out of dummy half defensively today. Freddie Lussick scored 2 tries.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, he had a lot of mates and he was probably doing a lot of work. I don't know what Terrell May's stats are. I just think I'd rather focus on why we couldn't compete and what was the difference. And I just think we were getting torched in the middle. We were getting torched on the left. We were getting torched on the right. We just couldn't stop anything, guys. We did for the first few minutes, but once they started running some plays at us, it was like we didn't know how to defend it.
We were just going backwards all game.
But just getting beaten on the outside all game. It was crazy.
In regards to what you actually asked, Eddie, I think a guy like Terrell May needs that
100%.
kind of outlet. I think his personality and probably he's spoken before about how missing out on State of Origin affects him mentally. I think he needs an outlet in his life that's not just football. He spoke about times when he was at the Roosters where he just didn't want to play football. So him having that opportunity to do his podcast, to do his streaming, to do his gaming, all that sort of stuff, I think is really crucial for a guy like Terrell May.
The only thing that concerns me, it's not so much that point, it's just related to it. When we had Sam Weller at the ambush the week before, we asked him, do you watch a lot of footy? And it was like, nah, I don't watch any footy.
That's the majority of. There's so many players nowadays that are like that.
You need some footy heads though in your team.
Yeah. Like I just think the guys that watch a lot of footy that that had a hero growing up and all that sort of stuff and just model themselves, they just become better footballers. They become what we call footballers, right? Blokes who just are rough and tough footballers. And I think we're getting away from that. That's not a good thing, I don't reckon.
Expectations for the rest of the year. I didn't want to come to you for this one, but it's your turn. So Look, I mean, the cards we've been dealt are harsh. We're having an injury-plagued season. So I just think now we're on 6 wins, and the aim for me, and I'm glass half empty, is to get past the amount of wins we had last year. We had 9 wins last year. Let's get 10 wins this year. I think it's a good season considering the injury toll. Because like you said, we're not going to have our full-strength team till round 24 or something.
My expectations have not changed from probably after about round 4 this year. It's totally injury dependent. We're 6-6. We have to beat the Titans somehow next week. We have to field a team firstly, and we have to win. I don't care if it's by golden point in the 200th minute. Okay, we just have to get a win, and I'll cop a 50-point hiding to the Dolphins as long as we're getting some troops back. If we get some troops back, I still think the goal has to be the 8. I'm watching a lot of other teams, Eddie. There's only about 4 or 5 that I can count on my hand that are pretty decent teams, and it's just such an opportunity to go to waste.
There's 9 okay ones,
But are they okay? But are they better than us when we're at full strength?
We're not going to be full strength next
You
10
say
weeks.
that. We might have Adam back next week. Might have Talon back the week after. I don't know who. That's what I'm saying. I don't know who the makeup of the team.
Talon's due back in 2 weeks. There has been a little bit of talk that he may be back next week as well.
And the only way I can put it to you is when Appy and Buller came back last week, we still had a pretty depleted team. But you can see what 1 or 2 players can do to the rest of the team's confidence. You start adding back, someone with Adam's personality and Talon's mongrel. I think that can change a little bit, but it depends how many games we lose before we get them back. I've got confidence in this team when it's near full strength. But right now, I'm just thinking, how do we even field a forward pack? We don't have a left edge back row. We're missing at least 2 props. We're missing a lock. The Twal injury is huge. And it's not just because it's Twal. It's because it takes 2 players to replace Twal. That we don't get 80 minutes out of one person like we do with Alex Twal.
I think my confidence took a battering today. If we are blessed with no injuries between now and the end of the year and we get our troops back, I still think we can make the 8. I always thought we were going to be a bottom top 8 team, 5 to 8. It's so jam-packed in the middle of the competition there. We're going to need somewhere 1 or 2 really big wins. And what concerns me about that is we're at our absolute attacking best when we have multiple options, and that includes Sam Weller. Like taking him out on that, taking him out off that left edge, we just lose such an attacking force out there. Racking up 40 points against a team is difficult for us, but we're going to need because now we're now minus 80. So we need to address that.
4 and against is gone.
Yeah, I don't even worry about 4 and against. It's wins. Like, okay, if we miss out on 4 and against, that'd be devastating. But just take a 1 point. We need to stay in touch.
Like how many
but
teams are on
we're
16
just going to have to
points?
win 1 more game than the team that's, you know what I mean? We're not going to beat them on 4 and against now. It's irretrievable.
That's the thing Benji said today in the press conference. Like, we've got to stick together. Okay, we just can't give up on this season and use
and they're not,
injuries
to be
as
fair.
an excuse.
Like guys like Taylor May coming back after 2 dislocated shoulders. That shows that it's all
Buller's had a shoulder problem as well. And we don't know that. That's
I respect that because
Yeah.
we've given up on seasons in the past. Our club when they just put away players early.
Yeah, I'm not giving up on it. I'd rather I'm realistic.
Go down swinging.
I think we're 25% chance max of making the 8, but we're in that pack that you're talking about, struggling for the 8. We don't know how other teams are going to go. Other teams might cop some injuries as well. We've got a decent draw.
We're ahead of the
On top of that,
Broncos.
we've actually got we've got Canterbury again, we've got St George again. I'm not saying we're going to beat them, but they're winnable games. And Gold Coast at home, like there's 6 points there. Then now you're on 22. Parramatta, there's 24. And then give me Sam Weller and all these other guys back. I'll take any team on. I don't care, but I just don't know when we're going to get them back. So I think it's a bit of a loaded question, really.
Yep.
So
I like loaded questions.
I think the squad's goal still has to be that top 8. Those guys coming back, we don't not bring guys back because we're riding off the season. We've got to keep fighting. And even when it's mathematically not possible for us to make the 8, we need to keep fighting throughout this season.
But that's when you do put them away.
My expectation is I don't think from the point we are now we'll make the 8. I don't think we'll get there, but the side has to have the belief that they can.
On what basis can't we get there, in your opinion?
I just think the injury tolls.
Thank you. Okay, as long as it's on that.
The injury toll's too high. I think the 4 from 5, 40-plus losses probably dented the confidence quite a bit. So even with those players coming back, I don't know whether we'll recapture that early season form that we had just because the hit the confidence has taken the last couple of weeks. But I also, Sam's out way too long, and we don't have anyone now at all, now that Ethan Roberts is out, that I think can adequately replace him.
Are you enjoying this season? Obviously, you enjoy today, but in terms of the NRL in general, because so many blowouts, I think the average margin is 21 points or something. Have they pushed it too far with these rules this year?
It's not even the 6 again, guys. I never thought anything could be worse than a 68-0 loss. That Tom Chester first try that was allowed last night,
That was diabolical.
that ripped
Did
my
they
rugby
justify
league
it though
out.
or not?
They tried to justify it by saying that
Just a loose carry.
Cobbo
You're allowed to
was
punch it
playing
out,
at the
John.
ball. He wasn't punching at it. You have a clenched fist when you're punching. He was trying to make a tackle and grab his
was
arm
embarrassing.
to make the ball loose. And when I saw that, I thought, you know what? Who cares if we even win a comp? Like this competition is just such a joke with the officiating. And you saw it Friday night or whatever night it was when Manly, South, Cozzy grounds the ball on the meat of the ball before
try.
the next
It's a
frame
try.
shows it on the line. It's a clear try. So we got people in the box that don't know the rules, that can't officiate, and you're just at the hands of refs anyway.
Mate,
So why should we care so much?
I absolutely hate those decisions where the ball comes out, it travels forward, and if it's hit out or even if it's pulled out, I don't want that to be a try ever. I don't want a ball to travel forward out of an attacking player's hand and him fall on it and be awarded a try ever. Give a penalty, I don't care, but there's no way a guy having a ball knocked out in a tackle and it going forward should ever be a try.
But who knocks the ball out going like that with their arm? Like, it's just a normal tackle.
I don't even care though if he's making a play at the ball.
Yeah, but both the ref and the video, the ref sent it up like that. The ref sent it up that it was played at, and the video deemed that it was the same.
Just
and it just
terrible.
shows you they're absolute dumb fucks. Sorry,
I
they have
wait
zero
for that.
IQ.
If I can get a word
Swear
in.
jar.
I beg your pardon, Steve. You go for it.
I'm going to say it is 6 agains as well. I get what you're saying. I love watching footy, right? I love watching every team play. I will watch 8 games a week if I can. I have not enjoyed football less than I have this year for a long, long time. The standard of the athleticism, amazing. The standard of the contest is terrible.
Cameron Munster and Jerome Roos said that, to be fair. They actually said
did?
they said we're turning games off. They said because I think that's 6 again. I think they have pushed it too far.
Yep.
With any sport, you never want a referee to be the centerpiece. The referee's become the centerpiece now.
Every second game.
And if you're conceding the first 3 or 4 6 agains in a game, they should have brought in that kickoff rule. If they're going to leave the 6 again next year at the 20-metre line, they need to bring in the kickoff rule where winning team kicks.
Look, I don't overly care about where that line is. I don't think it's really an issue of
It
where
was
the line is.
perfect last year, though. I think it is an issue.
No, the issue I have with it is I think it's overused. I think the amount of times they're doing it is just way too many. The crowd, the audience, the viewers at home have no idea what they're being really given for. There's no explanation. And my biggest problem with the 6 again is it's not a consistent penalty. Getting a 6 again on the 5th tackle does not compare to getting a 6 again on the 1st. The consequence for that same act varies where it's given in the tackle account. And I know that happened with penalties as well, but you got a kick downfield. The line got to reset. Right now, once you get one on the 5th tackle, you are struggling for the rest of that set. There's no way back into that set. If you get one on the 1st tackle, you can regain control of that set.
I'm like Steve.
That's my biggest problem.
I watch every game possible, and I think halfway through the second half of Canberra and the Roosters the other night, I changed the channel.
I only watch every game because I got a bet on every game.
But it was-
Otherwise I turn it off. That's true.
But it got boring. It actually the game
I turn it off.
the game got boring. Like I still love watching rugby league generally, but it's just getting so sterile. You know exactly how the game's going to be. You know exactly how the 6 agains are going to work. You know that whatever the referee decides, he's pretty much going to manipulate the game. Although, if you look at the results this weekend, most of the better teams won. But did they win because they were better, or did they win because the
Referees control
officiated
momentum.
them that they're the better team? Like,
Referees control momentum in the game now. The players no longer control momentum. It's all up to what the referee is doing.
And then they, because they're so scrutinised, then they get their stats right at the end of the game. Like
the square ups.
yeah, they manipulate a contest by favouring one side, not subconsciously, and then at the end of the game they square the ledger. So when they get off, it's 6-4, or 5-3, right? So it's a mess. It's a mess.
Be fairly emotional week next Sunday. Last game at Leichhardt for 2 years.
For 2
18
years.
months.
Yeah. If it was forever, it would be emotional, but it's not. It's only for 2 years. But, mate,
Team's got to be up for it, though. That's
I
what I
don't
mean.
know.
It's kitchen sink game for the team.
I don't want to look like I don't like Leichhardt Oval because I love it. All I give a flying you-know-what about is the 2 points. I don't care.
That's what I mean.
They can close it down for 5 years, give me 2 points next week.
The crowd makes a difference there.
All I care about is winning, mate.
Crowd makes a difference there, Gary. We can lift them over the line, surely.
The crowd makes a massive difference there. I'm sure it's going to be a massive crowd there next weekend.
Be a sellout.
Considering
Be a sellout.
I'd be surprised if it's not sold out already.
It's not going to fix our tackle technique. It's not going to fix our defensive spacing. It's not going to.
You know what happens at Leichhardt sometimes?
There's been some Leichhardt magic even like the last 3 or 4 years.
I understand that, but we've got to be better.
Yeah,
we've got to work
100%.
on what we've got to do, and then us supporters, we just try and cheer them
100%
on.
we need to be better.
Can't rely on it.
But quite often you go to Leichhardt and what happens when you get to that ground, sometimes you just have to find a way to win. And I think we're more likely to find a way to win at Leichhardt Oval next weekend than anywhere else in the world. So next week they just need to find a way to win and send Leichhardt Oval out for the next 2 years with a win.
Something to look forward to next Sunday, Steve.
Yeah,
Counting down the days, Steve.
I'll be there again. I'm actually
tell us about it.
Hosting Brent Reed at Leichhardt Oval
right.
next Sunday. I had a quick chat with him this afternoon, and he's still in for it. So the idea is to bring. He had a go at Leichhardt Oval on 360, and so I texted him and said, "Well, listen, come out, and we'll give you a Leichhardt Oval experience." So he can't get there till about 3 o'clock because he's got Triple M commitments. But we're going to hopefully do a walk down to the ground from one of the
Take
pubs.
him to the hill with the punters.
Well, we're going to do all three. I'm going to take him to like down near the players, area there, and a bit of time there. Then he can come up and sit up with me in the stand for 20 minutes or so.
Poor
and
bastard.
see what it's like that.
Send him to the hill at half time.
And
Who's
then-
recording it?
And then go to the hill for the second half and give him a real Leichhardt experience. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Whoever tuned in tonight, Rob, they are the Hardy Souls, aren't they?
All four of them.
Yeah, this is Sunday next week. I'm just thinking of last year's game against the Titans. That was one of the worst games of rugby league I've ever seen.
So
we
it didn't
won with
matter.
a field goal to Adam Dewey or something in
Snap
Golden
your
Point.
arm off for that.
Yeah, and I'd do that right now for that win next week. So we just got to get out there next week and find 17 players and do the job.
All right. Well, disappointing day for the West Tigers, but it's on again next week. Claws out to be back on Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in.